That now concludes our agenda and brings us to council reports. Mr. Witt.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, we took a moment to think about Charles Smith. I was fortunate enough to been the vice commander of Snellville VFW Post 4180 when Charles was the commander, and he was a true leader. He's a man that I considered a mentor, someone who I looked up to. He's going to be sorely missed, not only by the VFW, but by all the veterans in Snellville. He was just a mentor to all of us. He's going to be lost. And I attended his funeral along with many members of the VFW, and there are many tears shed. He's really going to be missed. And that's all I have. Hope y'all drives home safe tonight. If you look out in the yard, you see that there's now iron sticking up out of the hole where the memorial's going. It's moving along. We will have our dedication on Memorial Weekend. We're really looking forward to it. As we get further along, we'll talk more about it. Thank you.
Ms. Bender.
No comment tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Emanuel.
I don't know if you've noticed, we have some new blinking yellow arrows at Forest Road and 124 and Highway 78 and 84. And I've been trying to get the Gwinnett DOT to do something about the intersection at 84 and 78, and this seems to be their approach to making that a safer intersection. So just be aware of that. It's just kind of try to slow you down and let you know you, you can turn left, but you need to be cautious about it. I think there was something like 65 accidents at that intersection last year. So just be careful. There's some topographical issues as well, the way the land drops down and you're looking straight at the sun if you're driving west in the evening. But we're trying to get that whole corridor along 78 to have smoother traffic flow and be a little bit safer. So when you see the blinking yellow arrow, just take time and be a little bit more careful at that intersection, because it has a tendency to have a lot of accidents there. And in that regard, be safe going home tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Kraus.
Thank you all for being here tonight, especially the government class. I hope you leave learning a little bit more than when you came in tonight. I also want to tag on to Councilman Emanuel's comment about the traffic. We had several interruptions in the past couple of weeks, and the traffic backed up and backed up and backed up. And again, I encourage you to please, if you are not signed up with Nixle, please do so. The police department got information ahead of time warning us that these intersections were going to be backed up. It helps a little bit alleviate your frustration with the traffic. www.nixle.com. And along with that, I always ask you to please sign up for Code Red as well. We're coming up to the season, and I hope everybody here is signed up with Code Red. Also, I'd like to congratulate Overcomers House, who recently received a $4,000 grant. They're a nonprofit organization. Their service is a resource center in Snellville dedicated to fighting against hunger and heartache in Gwinnett County. And their grant was given by the Olive Garden, Red Lobster, and Longhorn Restaurants in Gwinnett and DeKalb County, and I congratulate them. Have a safe trip going home. Thank you.
Mr. Howard.
How y'all doing out there? Had a big crowd tonight. I'm going to start different tonight. How many of you shopped local this past week? Weekend? Good. That's what we like to see. We want to continue that. Ms. Linsky, thank you for your unwavering support to bring your group out here tonight. We appreciate that. We are glad y'all are here. As a matter of fact, let's give them all a round of applause. How about that? One thing I do want to do on kind of a sad note, the Parkview student, Jonathan Porter, was recently hit by and struck by a car, has passed away. And it's just, it's so important because we have all of these schools around us. So kids, adults, men, women, children, everybody behind the wheel of a car, when we're in these school zones, pay attention to what you're doing. I think everybody can be affected by that in a blink of an eye. Don't look at the radio, get in a school zone, pay attention to what you're doing. I don't think any of us would be hurt by heeding that type of advice. I know I certainly not. So, had an opportunity yesterday with Mayor and Councilman Emanuel to attend the Snellville Church of the Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. They were very accommodating. They've done this for the second year in a row, kind of an open house, kind of meet your neighbor kind of thing. So I want to extend a thanks for that opportunity to come out and meet those folks. Very interesting, very big service-oriented group, and we're probably going to be seeing a little more activity from some of their scout troops and things like that within the city. So when you see your Mormon neighbors, just reach out and say hi. Outside of that, everybody travel safe going home. Thank you again for coming out here, and thank you all very much for the opportunity to serve you, the citizens of Snellville.
Now for the mayor's report, if you hold on just a second, I have a few things first. First, all of y'all probably heard, but Snellville was recognized as one of the best cities to live by NerdWallet. I don't know exactly what NerdWallet is, but we will take it. We were in the top 10 for best cities to live, and so we appreciate that recognition. I also want to add something. Most of you were not in our work session tonight, especially the students in the room. One of the things we talked about in our work session is a federal grant. It's called the Tiger Grant. And with that, we're hoping to apply. We won't be able to get our application in time this year, but hopefully next year. And with that, we'll be looking at pedestrian bridges. And hopefully one of the pedestrian bridges will go across by South Gwinnett High School. So even if we have sidewalk improvements down 78, unfortunately, I think the Parkview student is an example. I see young students crossing that intersection every day. And I think it's essential to our community to put a pedestrian bridge there. So for you high school students that are here tonight, let your elected officials know how much that would mean to you and how we need to get behind not only your local elected officials, but your state and federal, that we need to get those federal funds to work on a pedestrian bridge, maybe more than one here in the city of Snellville. I also want to recognize Brookwood High School. They have been awarded the AP School of Merit Award, and that is for the percentage of students they have passing their AP test successfully. So that's, I guess, a challenge to you South Gwinnett High School students that are here tonight from an AP class to study hard for those tests. Brookwood High School also is the state champ for the Science Olympipad. I don't know if I said that right, but they have not only athletes over there, but science, but academics as well. So congratulations to Brookwood High School. I also want to thank, along with Councilman Howard, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I was not able to attend the open house last year. Was very grateful to them for the invitation this year. That was the first time I had ever attended that church, the Snellville Ward, and they do great things over there. Kirk and Kathy and Jean, they have a group over there that's artists, a youth group, and also some adults that do pictures. They had them on display in the church meeting room, and so I invited them to possibly come and display in City Hall. So maybe if Miss Bailey could follow up with that, but they have some very talented members over there. I'm working hard on the Snellville Days Parade. It is not too late for you to get your application in. If you would like to have a float in this year's Snellville Days Parade, the grand prize is $600 for the first place float, $400 for the second place float, and $200 for the third place float. The theme for this year's parade is Dreams Do Come True, and the parade is Saturday, May 3rd at 10 o'clock in the morning. This year's Grand Marshal will be Rennie Curran. Some of you may know Rennie. He's a former football player for Brookwood High School. He went on to play for the University of Georgia and then went to the NFL where he played for Tampa Bay. So come out. We're going to have clowns. We're going to have floats. We're going to have the cheerleaders from South Gwinnett and the band from South Gwinnett, along with Shiloh and Brookwood High Schools. We're going to have floats, free giveaways. So if you want to be a part of the parade, get your application in. And if not, just come and enjoy the activities Saturday, May 3rd, before the Snellville Days Festival starts. I had the opportunity last weekend. I'm sorry I missed the casino night for the community garden, but I had the opportunity to have dinner with Herman Cain, and I thought, when am I ever going to have the chance to have dinner with a presidential nominee or presidential candidate? And lo and behold, not only did we sit with Herman Cain, but we sat with Ben Carson. And so it was a great night. It was for victory over diabetes. We also sat with a gentleman named Chris Brown, and the first thing he said is, "No, I'm not that Chris Brown." But Chris Brown lives here in the city of Snellville, and he is a track runner for the Bahamas. He actually is a gold medal winner for the 400 meter in the Olympics, the last Olympics in London. And so he came out and spoke to a local high school and brought his gold medal with him. And he's here in Snellville, and so I think that's pretty exciting. We have great people living here in our community, and we don't even know about it. And of course, it was an honor to have dinner with Mr. Cain and Mr. Carson. Also, last weekend, I was able to eat at the Masonic Lodge barbecue, and these were some of our Masons hard at work, former Councilman Sabag there. If you've never been to a Masonic barbecue, I encourage you to go next time. It's $8, but it's the best barbecue you'll get in town, and they have it twice a year. So thank you for the Masonic Lodge for all that they do for our community and for some great barbecue. We talked last time, welcome to First Watch. If you haven't gone out there and tried it yet, it is open. We cut the red ribbon, and they are great. They're only open until 3 o'clock, so make sure you go early. Finally, Saturday, I had the honor of attending Upsilon Alpha Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. They are a sorority here in Gwinnett County that celebrated their 20th year, 20th anniversary, and they are an African-American female sorority that do so many good things for our community. They, just in Snellville alone, they have put on the health fair at the senior center. They have worked on the no texting and driving pledge, and they have had Bowl for a Cure at the local bowling alley. So I want to thank all of them. They are a community service organization. Thank them for their support here in the city of Snellville and our Gwinnett community as a whole. We need more people active in our community like that, because we as elected officials can't solve everyone's problems, and so these people fill a void and a need in our community by their volunteering. And that is their group picture. Many of you may have remembered Justin Lansford. He was a Brookwood High School alumni who lost his leg in Afghanistan when there was a bomb that detonated. I gave the key to the city to Justin when he came back for the Brookwood game last year. There was an update recently. Justin has gotten a guide dog. He is part of the Wounded Warriors Project, and so we're happy to get these updates from Justin and to see that he's doing so well. Finally, the 26th, this week, Cabana Grill will be opening. They'll have food trucks around the city. We're excited that you're going to see this on 124, and so we have great new businesses opening here in the city of Snellville. Make sure you come and patron them and show your support for the restaurants we have opening in our community. Polo Tropical has also inquired. They're going to be asking for several different variances, but we're excited. I talked to them last week about possibly having them open in the near future in the city as well. So with that, I will conclude my mayor's report and open it up for public comment.
Jared S. Blankenship, 2867 Overwood Lane. I've been up here probably for the last year under ADA. I've had no actions out of the city council, except they're going to have a meeting twice. And I picked up some paperwork that was in October, but it's about 36 pieces is wrong that y'all are going to refuse to type out. Even in the work session, which I think Mr. Powell will tell you, he made agreement or made a statement to the mayor that they didn't have to type that out, transcribe it. And also our city manager, when he went to the airport with Mike Shabag, he made a statement to Mr. Mike that I can hear and he's not going to do nothing. And it's amazing that this council for one solid year has not done anything for the ADA, or either had a meeting, which I had one with Mr. Sanders, and it states that anything that concerns me, they'll type it down. But if you'll go through the minutes for a year, you'll find out that I've been up here more than twice, which two things they've typed. But they have not given me a list, which I've asked y'all, of the things that's not supposed to interest me that I'm not supposed to have typed up. So it lets the city that either you should make a statement that you're not going to abide by the ADA rules, or that you're going to work on them. Or would y'all like for the Department of Justice to come in and let them make a decision, because y'all have sit there for a year and there's no decision and there's no meetings, which is twice in the minutes that y'all given me, that y'all would have a meeting, but I hadn't seen that meeting yet. One councilman made it and asked me what it would do to solve the problem. Solve the problem is you start doing something. And I think a year with the sarcastic remarks that's been made at me, the faces that's been made at me, and statements that's been made at me, that I don't think you have an ADA program in this city. And I think the good thing, I think the council and the mayor should ask Department of Justice to come down and investigate it and really see where things are in this city, which is not none.
Thank you, Mr. Blankenship. Any additional public comment?
Yes, Jerry Oberholzer, 1855 Pennystone Way. I do apologize, I didn't get a chance to sign in on the public comment sheet. But I do represent the 3rd District on the Gwinnett County SPLOST 2014 Citizen Project Selection Committee. I've been here before and would like to let you know that we've met every other Monday night since the election where it was approved, and tonight we had our final meeting where we went ahead and approved not only the city projects that were submitted, but we also approved the sidewalk projects that we've worked hard on, and we've also approved, as a citizen selection, sent to the chairman and commission, the final list of all projects for the 2014 SPLOST. I do invite you all to attend. They'll be having a briefing next Tuesday at 10:30 at GJAC, and I just want to say I think we did a pretty good job in the 3rd District, and I will say I am a homer for Snellville, and I do want to point out that we did get the joint projects of the sidewalk on Oak Road and on US 78, and we also got a little bonus. I was able to get sidewalk on Skyland Drive from Streetville to Rockdale Circle, which is now a priority 1. So we hopefully will see that in the next 3 years. That's something I think we've been all wishing for about 20 years, and I was able to work that in doing some dealings. But I do want to thank you all, because through your help, especially on the intersection projects, we were able to add another intersection to that. As you know, we were able to get the Fars Road, North Road intersection in with your help also, with some right-of-way. And we also had the intersection of Ridgedale and Fars, which is about 2/3 in the city, 1/3 in the county. By you coming forward and agreeing to help with the right-of-way costs, that project got funded. There was about $2.4 million on unallocated, and we were in competition with some of our other cities, and by you coming forward with that $400,000, we now got that on the list, and that is a Tier 1 project, which means it'll be completed in the next 3 years. So I really want to thank you all for coming forward, and a little bit of money goes a long way. Now, hopefully, everything will get approved, and the job will be building that stuff in the next 3 years, especially the city projects, especially the Oak Road sidewalk, which is not your typical sidewalk project. You all know that's near and dear to my heart, so I'll be watching that one. And I want to thank you again for that. 2 points of interest, which I would share with the council. I didn't get a chance to come forward and talk about the town green, but that is also real near and dear to me, and I believe that is our front yard. So anything you do out there, remember that's our front yard, and we want it to maintain that way. And also, I do want to ask one, I know you can tell me later, but I would just like to know the status of the LCI. I know the contract had gotten held up in the bureaucracy down at the Georgia DOT, and I was just wondering if that's gotten approved and ready. So, I know this isn't the, if I was mayor, I wouldn't allow him to answer it.
Mr. Sanders can answer after the meeting privately.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, Mayor and Council, thank you again, because you've really made the job a lot easier with your ability to come forward with money on the city level. So thank you again.
Thank you, Mayor. Any additional public comment?
My name is Marvin Choate. I live at 2478 Mountain View Road, otherwise known as Mountain View Road Speedway. That's another discussion for another time. The reason I'm here is to, I've been a Snellville resident for 32 plus years, and I've seen many changes in this period of time, some good, some not so much. But my reason and purpose in being here is to show support for a long-needed ordinance that would show support for pet waste removal. Dave Emanuel and I have been trying to come to some terms and try to hammer out something that would be palatable and something that would be, would make common sense. Living on Mountain View Road, the sidewalks that run through my yard, they encourage pedestrian traffic, as they should. With that pedestrian traffic comes an element of people that walk their animals. I too have 2 Labrador retrievers. They enjoy that same exercise and joy of a walk on a beautiful day. I go to painstaking efforts to ensure that when my dogs must leave pet waste, that it is bagged and removed and disposed of properly and immediately. Sadly, this is not the case for many that enjoy the same routine and experience. On almost a daily basis, I must clean up after other pet waste on my sidewalks, yard, and streets. I find it unconscionable that fellow citizens would allow their pets to leave waste on their neighbor's property. But that is the reality of the situation. Allowing pet waste to remain without removal is bad for many reasons. First, it's unsanitary and it's unhealthy. Ungathered pet waste causes bacteria and disease. Secondly, it's unsafe. Pet waste left on sidewalks and walking past can cause slips and falls when not properly disposed of. Even when hardened pet waste is unremoved, contact with the rain and water can cause a slick and slippery condition, which invites accidents, which could cause head injuries or worse. And lastly, not removing pet waste is a detriment to the quality of life for all citizens and residents of Snellville. Frankly, I'm surprised that there's not already a pet waste ordinance in place. Most citizens, or most cities and municipalities that strive to preserve these core values already have such ordinances implemented. I cannot fathom or comprehend a scenario where such an ordinance would not make reasonable common sense to adopt. It is the right and responsible thing to do, especially in a city where we want to ensure a safer, healthier, and more pleasant quality of life. I thank you for the time to address you on this subject matter, and I hope that you all share the same passion that I have in making and preserving Snellville as a wonderful city that it is. And I appreciate your support in making this long overdue ordinance a reality. Thank you.
Any additional public comment? Seeing none, the time is 8:33 and we are adjourned. Have a good trip home.